Hello, viewers. Thanks for watching my podcast. My show gives pageant fans and volunteers the opportunity to get to know title holders. I would like to encourage you to please click the subscribe button so you can see all of my shows, and also click the notifications bell so that you're aware of when I post new shows. I would like to thank all of my sponsors for helping continue the show and keep it going. I really appreciate it. I'm very excited about my next guest. My next guest is Miss Indiana USA 2020, Alexis Lete, who was third runner-up to Miss USA. Alexis, thank you. Welcome to my show.
Yeah, hello. Thank you for having me.
It is an honor to have you on my show. I really appreciate you taking time to talk to me. Congratulations on all your success and, everything you've done. So before we get started, could you tell me about your background and how you got involved in pageants?
Yes. So I was born and raised in Southern Indiana, and I played sports. And when I was younger, people would see me. I'm obviously very tall. I'm like 6 foot, but if you're a modeling agency, I'm 5'11". And I always wanted to model and be in entertainment. Cool. And my mom saw this cutout in the newspaper for, this little fair pageant. And so I competed when I was a senior in high school for Miss Harvest Homecoming. And that was the first time I did a pageant. And it kind of helped me, with my speaking skills, and I had no idea what I was doing, but my mom's like, it will help you with modeling. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I did that. I didn't win, obviously, but I kind of kept it in the back of my head about the possibilities and what winners of pageants can do and succeed. And as I went to college, I kind of did some research of the women that I wanted to be like. I love Olivia Culpo. She was Miss USA, Miss Universe. I love Gal Gadot because I love Wonder Woman. She was Israel.
Right.
And so I kept seeing all these accomplished women that I wanted to be like, and I realized they did pageants. They were title holders.
Yeah.
And I, moved out to LA for a little bit, and I was acting out there, and I just started getting all these signs from God. I'm religious. I have a cross in my neck. And I was like, this is weird. Like, I keep getting these signs to compete for Miss Indiana USA. What is going on? And I finally contacted one of my friend's moms who is a pageant coach, or helps people with pageants. And I was like, hey, I don't know about this. Like, what do you think? And she's like, I was just about to text you that you should do Miss Indiana USA. And I was like, okay. I was like, I don't know though. Like, I'm living here in LA. I really want to go for this. I want to be a game show host. I want to be in entertainment. And she's like, well, just look at when the pageant is. Yeah. And so I looked at when it was. It was at the end of November. And my 6-month lease in LA was up at the end of November.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, God, I see you. I see the signs.
Right.
I'll, book a plane ticket. I'll compete. And I'll put all my effort into it to, glorify you and have whatever comes next that you want me to do to pursue that. And so I came back. I did the thing. I won. And I was like, wow.
Yeah. Very, very cool. So you won your first time competing?
Yes.
Wow. That's cool. How did you prepare, or did you just feel like natural, like you're just a good speaker? How did you get ready for Miss Indiana USA?
Nothing comes naturally for anybody.
Okay.
I think that everyone, when they accomplish something or want to win something, they work hard at it.
Yeah.
I did start about 3 weeks before Miss Indiana USA, but I did train a lot. And the woman who helped me, her name is Rami, and she would just call me every day and ask me questions and tell me tips.
Oh, I see.
Yes, give me so much advice that I really needed, because there's so many small things in pageantry that you don't realize matter that do, like how you are standing when you're in an interview, how you hold your hands when you're in an interview, how you communicate, how you talk, not saying the question over again. There's just so many little things.
Wow.
Yeah. Unless someone knows, about the pageant industry and what happened.
Yeah.
As just someone coming in, you don't know. So she really, made me into the woman who won Miss Indiana USA.
I see. Well, we have a video from your crowning moment. I would like to watch the video, and then I want to ask you, what were you thinking and what were you feeling in your crowning moment? I'm always curious. So for the viewers, here is the crowning moment of Miss Indiana USA 2020, Alexis Lete.
The first runner-up to the title of Miss Indiana USA. This is the first runner-up.
Do you want me to talk over it?
It's up to you.
Okay, I can't see it, so I don't really know what you're showing me right now.
Miss Indiana USA is Alexis
But
Lete.
while I was there, I was, holding the runner-up's hand, and I was like, "You did a great job. Like, you won. Congrats!" And then they called her name, and then so I won, and I was like, "Oh goodness!" The first thing I thought was, I'm going to have to move all of my stuff, my entire life, back to Indiana.
Right.
And I was like, that's a big task. And I was like, I'm literally going to have to uproot my whole life.
There you go. Here we go.
And then I think the next thing that was going through my head was, I'm so ready to get after this, but I know that it's not going to be easy.
Right.
So that was what was going through my head. A lot of emotions, because I knew that my life was going to drastically change.
Right.
From, being in LA for a short amount of time to coming back to Indiana, which it was wintertime, so it was cold. And then I also don't have a lot of friends here from high school, because I went to college in DC, and so I was going to be lonely again. So all these things were kind of coming back to my mind. I was like, okay, God did call me to do this, and this is about to be really hard.
So what has been your most memorable experience as Miss Indiana USA?
There's so many, but my favorite was when I worked with the NCAA, because I was a Division athlete. And I worked with them at this basketball game that was called Readers to Leaders, and it encouraged students to read. And so I was the MC for the game, and there were 3,000 third graders.
Okay.
So just imagine how loud that is.
Yeah.
And I was just on the mic, talking to them, like, who is ready to get their goal in reading? And they were just like, wow. And then I would go up in the stands and talk to them and dance. And it was so much fun, because I felt like I was really able to make an impact. And of course, this was pre-COVID. And so all the kids were hugging me. We were, making TikTok dances together. And it was just aha moment, like seeing all these kids that looked up to me and remembering when I was little and I saw a woman with a tiara and I idolized her. Like, it just made me feel like I have such a great purpose and an impact, rather it be these 5 seconds I meet one kid, or, whether I do a 12-week program with Girl Talk or a different nonprofit.
Right.
So it was a lot of fun.
Okay, I want to talk about style. I think you look great all the time. I love how you dress. So I wanted to know, where do you shop, or, where do you get your style inspiration?
Okay, well, that was a huge compliment. Because we talked a little bit before the podcast, and I was telling you that I feel like being Miss Indiana USA has kind of refined my wardrobe and my style.
Right.
And I always look at Olivia Culpo for inspiration. I know in the pageant world, it's like basic, but I love how she has sporty spice. Like, you feel like she's athletic, yet girly, yet fashionable. And being a D1 athlete and playing volleyball, and then now being a beauty queen, I like the sporty spice vibe too. And a lot of the places I shop is, since I'm so tall, I have to get talls, and I get them from Pretty Little Thing.
Okay.
So you're tall and you need tall pants. They have a tall section, and they're always great and affordable. And I also wear a lot of stuff from Revolve. So they sponsor me a lot of my outfits for me to post on my social media. And I love their clothes. I love 2-piece outfits a lot. So I love when the top matches the bottom, because it's just an easy go-to. You don't really have to think too much about too many pieces. You're just like, well, this is already there for me. Just got to put it on and I'll look good.
So getting ready for Miss USA, did you do anything special, or did you just continue to work with the same person that you worked with earlier? How did you?
I mostly worked with the same person. She didn't necessarily coach me, but she helped me out with nearly everything, like with advice wise and all that kind of stuff. She was literally amazing. I love her, dearly, dearly love her.
Right.
And something I did differently was I started doing stand-up comedy to prepare for Miss USA.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Speaking of stand-up comedy, you have a podcast, right?
I do. It's not a stand-up comedy podcast, but it is a podcast.
Okay. And what do you talk about on your show?
So it's called Empower Her, and it's a woman empowerment podcast where I interview women with inspiring stories to empower others. So it's Yeah, it's a lot of women that are breaking the mold. Like that's the hashtag that I love and I've used from my reign. I'm going to continue to use. And I love just
Mhm.
people stepping outside of what's the norm and recreating a new definition and trailblazing for people to come. I mean, I really recognize myself more as an athlete than I do a pageant queen.
Okay.
And so, that's another like breaking the mold scenario. Athletes
Mhm.
aren't usually put on this pedestal to be feminine or to be
Right.
beautiful. And we can embrace all of our parts of, being a savage on the court and then dressing up and speaking eloquently to a crowd.
Very, very cool. So I have a video of the top 5 announcement at Miss USA. I know you can't see it because of the studio, but I'm going to play the video for the viewers, and then after it's over, I'm going to just ask you how are you feeling during the pageant, as they were calling your name. So for the viewers, here is the top 5 announcement at Miss USA.
Okay, ladies, this is it. All 5 of you, hear me when I say this, should be exceptionally proud of this moment and making it this far. You're all incredible women.
All right, the 4th runner-up for Miss USA is Alabama.
The 3rd runner-up is Indiana.
So you were 3rd runner up. How were you feeling throughout the competition? Like each phase, how were you feeling like when they were announcing who the winners were? How were you feeling then?
I'll just start off by talking about the whole competition in general. When it
Cool.
was finals night,
Mhm.
I was feeling very grateful. I had always dreamed of being in the Victoria's Secret fashion show when I was little.
Oh, cool.
And so that there's none of that anymore. And so I kind of saw the bathing suit portion as like my Victoria's Secret moment. Like I don't have things, but I have a cape. And I was like wearing not, lingerie, but a bikini. And so I was like, wow, like I'm so grateful to be able to, 1, be able to show off my body and my hard work, and 2, have a platform that elevates what I care about to
Right.
do so. So I was like, this is just an awe moment for me because it's kind of something I'd always dreamed about,
Yeah.
maybe not the Victoria's Secret stage, but for right now, this is, the next big kind of not fashion show, but in a sense, it kind of gives you that vibes with
Yeah.
the walking. And so I was like, oh, I'm just so grateful. This is amazing. And I remember just going backstage and I was like, yeah, like, woo, that was so much fun. And I remember thinking, if I don't make it onto the next portion, this was my dream and I fulfilled one part of my dream.
That's really cool.
And then I got chosen for top 10 and I was like, oh my goodness, this is exciting. Now I get to wear my $850 prom dress on stage and I get to tell everybody that they don't have to have something expensive or have
Right.
to make,
Yeah.
And so I saw that as like another opportunity to empower and impact, I like I said, I feel like God called me to be in pageants and to be Miss Indiana USA. And every part of competition, every part leading up to competition, every social media part has a message and a purpose behind it. So, the way I walked, I wanted to elude certain emotions. And,
Right.
my dress even told a story, everything. And so it was very emotional for me too. When I first got called into the top 16, I remember they played my video.
Yeah.
And I remember as I was watching that video, I like couldn't help but start getting emotional. Because it reminded me of why I was doing what I was doing. I wish I would have had somebody in my shoes or somebody to look up to when I was in middle school or high school that was going after their dreams. And in Southern Indiana, so often people tell you or told me that it wasn't attainable, that it can't happen, be more realistic.
Oh,
and
wow.
it really hurt to want something so bad and know that I could go after it and get it, but have nobody support me.
Yeah.
And so I want to be that person that people look up to as she's doing it, so can I. Like,
Wow.
you didn't have anybody, and I feel like I don't either, but doesn't mean I still can't be successful. And so, I actually was crying on stage. I tried to hide it. I was like, don't look at the camera. Just because it was just an awe experience where I was like, I have, you know, national television where so many people are watching this and can see that they can do anything and be anything despite, you know, their community, despite, you know, their parents, despite their friends, you know, and now everybody supports it. They're like, oh wow, she's actually doing it.
Right,
but
right.
until you do it, no one believes in you.
Yeah. That's really cool that you brought up the cost of gowns, and you said it doesn't have to be super expensive to you know, compete, because I know a lot of people think it costs so much, and you know, but that's cool that it doesn't have to be super expensive.
Yeah, well, I had a different dress and it came in and it was just, oh, it looked terrible on me. It was way too, I just looked like I was drowning in it. It didn't look like it fit my body correctly. Something was mismeasured along the way. It was, I don't know. And I was like, I'm not gonna wear this on stage. Like,
so you were talking about how Miss Indiana USA gave you a platform, you know, to help people. What is an area or areas that are like the dearest to your heart? Is it just like the women's empowerment? Is it helping kids? You know, what is like the cause that really means a lot to you?
You mean with
just any cause, or you know, any topic that is really important to you as a title holder that you want to work towards?
Breaking the mold. Like that's my whole thing. Like I didn't go into Miss USA trying to be like anybody else, trying to be like someone that came before me. I was like, I'm gonna be authentically myself and inspire people along the way. I've had people be like, that's not really a platform, or that's like not something. Oh no, it is. Do you know how many people there are that don't feel like they can be their authentic self? I mean, there's just an array, like even people in the LGBTQ plus community, like the queer community, they don't feel like they can be themselves yet, some of them. I know there's kids that are dreamers that feel like they can't tell their family that their dream isn't to go to college to be a doctor. You know, there's so many people where this message, this is why I'm so passionate about it, because I didn't have that, and there is a need for this message. Right.
And so interesting. Danny Walker, who you may have heard of, she's a former Miss Montana USA, I think, but she was talking about how some, especially pageant girls, feel like you can't be yourselves because you feel like you have to appeal to what the judges are going to think. Or so that's really cool that you're all about being yourself. And I am a judge as well, so I know in the end we just want people to be their authentic selves.
Yeah. And I had a few girls come up to me at Miss USA privately and told me thank you, and I was like, for what? And like, for being yourself. And I didn't realize, because no one vocalized it, how they felt like they needed to be somebody different, or to look a certain way or fill a certain role because of the pageant stereotype of what you think that you need to be, or think that you need to look like.
All right, so you made a commentary video for Miss USA. I actually didn't see it, but some of the fans wanted to talk about it. Some people felt like you may have said some things that were offensive to other delegates. Do you want to talk about it, or just kind of clear up some of the misconceptions with that video?
Yeah, and it actually hurt my heart. Like it really hurt me for a while that people perceived it so differently than the intentions, because I made the video. After Miss USA, I was like, okay, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna start a YouTube channel. So literally my very first video, I was researching what gets a lot of views, what does well, and a lot of the Miss USA, you know, top 15 picks were doing really well and performing well. People were looking at those, and I was like, oh my gosh, that would be so cool if we could have a girl that competed in Miss USA talking about like the other girls and what they were like, besides just the way they look and their, you know, the way they walk. You know, like maybe, you know, Miss Alaska is so quirky and fun. I want people to know that about her.
Right.
And so I did end up choosing top 15, and looking back and, you know, hearing some of the girls' perspectives, like one of them reached out to me and was like, hey, like, I know you didn't mean for it to be judgmental or like to hurt people's feelings by choosing a top 15, but you know, some people are hurt. And I was like, oh my gosh, what? And I remember getting that message, and my heart kind of broke, because I wanted to highlight people and show them like all the different facets and different kind of women that were on that stage besides just what we look like, because so much people kind of, I mean, even pick their winners based off of looks, and that's not what it is anymore. And so I did take it down whenever someone texted me and they're like, I think it might be perceived wrongly. And I was like, oh my gosh, no, like that's not what I want. So I took it down, like just messaged all the girls. And I was like, hey, like, I'm so sorry if me choosing the top 15 really hurt you. Like, that was not my intentions.
Right.
And so, yeah, I want people to highlight the women for who they are and not just what they look like. And I think it's so important that we use our voices and our platforms to do such a thing.
Of course.
And I mean, it is my opinion too. And last time I checked, all opinions are opinionated. So
Right. Yeah. Cool. Have you ever thought about competing in the Miss America system?
no.
No. Why not?
It's a little too formal for me. I'm a little too sexy for it.
Oh wow. Okay.
That's not a stab.
Okay.
It's just the reality of what I feel like it is. I feel like it's more conservative. It's based off scholarship. I don't have any school left. I mean, there's no scholarship to be won.
Right.
And I kind of saw Miss USA as, like I said, a little bit sexier, a little bit more in the entertainment realm. And that's something that I want in my future. I want to be a host, a game show host. And
right.
that's, that was the pageant for me.
What's your favorite game show?
Oh gosh. I was on Let's Make a Deal.
Oh, cool.
And I won.
Really?
A trip to Thailand. I haven't gone yet because of COVID. But
oh, wow.
That was really cool.
That is really cool. So I know we kind of touched on this before, but I just wanted to ask, what are your goals, your aspirations for the future? You want to be a game show host, anything else, modeling, acting?
Yeah, so right now I know the world is kind of like on hold, so I'm wanting to get signed in a Miami market and an LA market, and then possibly overseas. So I'm looking to be signed with modeling in different agencies. I'm just trying to figure out which one is the best fit for me and I'm the best fit for.
Right.
And then with that, I'm going to do acting more. I was acting in LA. I love acting. I love just putting on a character of somebody that you've met before or someone that you can imagine and like stepping into that role and feeling their emotions and portraying them. And I like it. I think it's fun. Like I've played dress up until honestly now, like I still play dress up.
Right.
And it's just fun to kind of get into that creative mode. So that's something that once everything opens back up, that I'm definitely going to get into a little bit more.
Very, very cool. I think I only have one more question for you. So you have been successful. You won Miss Indiana USA. You were third runner up to Miss USA, and that was, I think, the highest placement Indiana has ever gotten. So what advice would you give, girls who are currently, I think the state competitions start again next year. So like girls who want to be successful in pageants, what advice would you give them?
I have a lot of advice. But I think the best advice that's so cliche is to be yourself.
Right.
And it's so cliche because everyone's like, be yourself, blah, blah, blah. But when you're in the competition, you look at the other girls, you see the way they walk, you see the way they dress, and sometimes you want to imitate that because you like it. But at the same time, your experiences, your family, where you grew up is so different than that other girl's, and you can't try to emulate anybody else. And it's so important to stay true to who you are and not try to, hide the quirkiness or hide the whatever it is that makes you you. I mean, on my Miss USA interview, I literally laughed about something, like cracked a joke. I flexed on camera with the judges. It was all over the place. And I remember when I got off of the call, I was like, oh no, I was too extra. I was too much. Oh my goodness. But at the same time, I sat back and thought, no, that's exactly who you are.
Yeah.
You are extra. You have high energy. You're proud that you work out.
Right.
That is literally me to a T. And so I was like, you know what? I don't regret anything from my interview because it was 100% authentically Alexis Lete.
Right.
And I guess it showed. I guess the judges loved the authenticity, flexing, whatever
of course.
I did.
Right.
And for whoever else is out there, like that is important too, because, even in my Miss Indiana USA interview, they were like, where'd you get your interview outfit? I was like, some cheap store in Miami. Like, I remember after I said that, I walked out of the room. I was like, oh my gosh, they probably think I'm poor. They probably think I don't know how to, shop good. But But at the end of the day, like you said, you want an authentic girl that people can relate to.
Exactly. Yeah, you can tell as a judge, you can tell when somebody is being themselves and when they're not being themselves. So once again, I want to thank you for being on my show, and I hope that this interview gives the community a chance to get to know you better. If you don't mind, you can stay on the line, and then I'm going to just finish up with the title with the viewers, and I'll talk to you afterwards. For the viewers, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy the show. Once again, please subscribe, click the notifications bell. My next guests are Miss America 1988, Kaylani Rothko Wilson, and Miss USA 1990, Carol Gist. If you would like to donate to my show, you can donate to my Cash App, $JTROBIN, or to my GoFundMe. And once again, I hope you enjoy the show, and thanks for watching.